Welcome to the Disc Golf Prescription Podcast, your weekly dose of disc golf. Hello and welcome to the Disc Golf Prescription Podcast. I'm your host, John Nicholson, and today we have a little bit of a different kind of episode going on. There are a lot of changes happening in my life and therefore changes happening with the podcast. So I just wanted to take an episode and talk to you guys about them. There are four main things at least, that I want to talk about today. One, why I am not touring this year. I've gotten this question a lot, so I figured I would address it publicly. Two, what I am going to be doing instead, which I am very excited to talk about. Three, what the plan is for the podcast this year. Don't worry, there is a plan. That's always good. And four, what disc golf looks like for me in the future, which is still very uncertain. So spoiler alert for that one. Before we get started, though, if you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't have another person to help me remember all of them today, so I'm glad I did it. Do all the things for me. It really helps the show out. If you're listening on a podcast app, please try to leave us a review. It really helps the podcast be more discoverable. And last but not least, if you're watching, listening at all, doing both, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. All right, so with that being said, on to topic number one. Why am I not touring this year? So the main reason I'm not touring this year, I'm sure a lot of you have heard me talk about it, whether it be on Instagram or somewhere else, is I do have a torn meniscus in my left knee. I have not been able to seem to figure that out at all. So I'm still struggling with that. That combined with I get some lower back issues as well, but it's mainly the knee that is bothering me. I've never really described what happened with that or what I believe is going on with that, but I think it is an old ultimate frisbee injury that I've re-aggravated to a point of I can't seem to get rid of it, and I'm still deciding whether or not I need surgery. But I didn't talk about it in the season too much. It started bothering me in March of 2022, so right before Texas State's, pretty much the exact week that my truck broke down and we needed to replace the engine on it. So I don't know if it was stress related or what it was, but that's when it started bothering me. I was familiar with the pain because, like I said, I thought it was an old ultimate injury. So I was like, oh, I can play through this. I've played through this before. And then eventually I get it worked out with some foam rolling and stuff, and I can get it to go away. Well, as I played Texas State's, what was after Texas State's? Oh, I had to skip the next event at Music City because of my truck. But then I went to Georgia for Champions Cup, then Jonesboro, then Dynamic Disc Open. Played through all of those tournaments. Knee pain was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Just so much so that after Dynamic Disc Open, I was like, I got to put a hold on the season right now. I went to an orthopedic a few times. We decided to try and take the conservative route, just get some steroid injections and try to finish out the season. So steroid injection, took a month off, and I believe when Steph and I went on our honeymoon during this point in time, and then I came back at the Preserve. And I felt like I was ready. I played a B tier in Texas that I almost won. Coming back just to get some competitive reps. The knee felt okay. It felt way better than it had before the month off. And then at the Preserve, was playing good, tested positive for COVID right before the second round. And so I couldn't play the Preserve. So I didn't really get to test out my knee there. Then I went to Idlewild. My knee barely made it through that tournament, and then I went to D-Glow, and my knee did not make it through that tournament. So at that point, it was the middle/start of the later half of the season, and I had to put the brakes on because I was barely able to finish a tournament, and then I couldn't even finish the next one just because of mostly it wasn't even the pain. If it was just pain, I think I could probably have pushed through it. It was instability in my knee. So it's in my left knee. So when I'm throwing backhands, which are the majority of what I throw on tour because the holes are so long, as I was pushing off my left leg, I never knew how much power I was going to be able to push off on. And so it ended up impacting my performance a lot because if I'm throwing a full power shot and I can only push off 50% on my leg and I don't know that's going to happen till right as I push off, you end up throwing some really bad shots. Or vice versa. I'm expecting my leg to give out and it doesn't. And then I like overcommit to a shot. So it ended up being just it was a rough time there for a minute. So with that happening, I went back to my doctor in Texas. I decided once again, I don't want to have surgery unless I absolutely have to on my meniscus. Cause at that point in time, I'm making a permanent decision. So I decided to get what's called a PRP injection, which is platelet-rich plasma. So they basically take your own blood, spin it down, inject it back into you. If you watch my Instagram or want to go back to my Instagram and see a big needle getting stuck in my leg and me being a baby about it, it's out there. So make sure to check that out if you want to see me be a baby about needles, because I am. Got that done. Basically, that just tries to stimulate your body's own healing processes a little bit more locally wherever the injection happens. It makes things a little worse for a little bit because it causes it to swell up. So I took 8 weeks off and kind of did my own little rehab during that process to try and come back for the end of the season. So finished the 8 weeks, went up to Vermont to do some stuff, not to play, but I went up there because I was going to go to Maple Hill the next week. Got into the Maple Hill Tuesday qualifier, qualified, tweaked my back during the qualifying round from slipping on a stump I should not have been stepping on, which was super fun. And couldn't, my knee felt great at Maple Hill, but then my back was hurt. So that was a interesting trip. Then I went to USDGC, played the Monday qualifying there. Once again, knee felt good at USDGC, was super happy about it. Was on pace for qualifying into USDGC till hole 17 got me bad. I threw OB 3 times on 17. It was rough, but it was a great experience. I was happy to get out to USDGC and play that course because that was the first time I was out at Winthrop. So that was a good time. Hopefully I can get back there in the future. After that, I had all the end of the year Texas tournaments, Texas and Oklahoma. So I went and defended my title at Oklahoma Open. So back-to-back Oklahoma Open champion. Love those courses out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So shout out to them. And then played Veterans Park Open here in DFW, where is not my home course, but on my home turf. Kind of had an okay showing there, and all signs were pointing to, wow, my knee's feeling good. I'm able to practice almost as much as I want to be able to practice to feel like I'm in top form. At least I felt like I was getting there. I was building up to it. Then Thanksgiving happened. I kind of ramped my practice down a little bit before I was going to ramp back up afterwards in December. And during that time, it was actually, I think, the first week of December, before I even started ramping stuff back up again, I started getting the pain and the instability back in my knee out of nowhere. There was no like, oh, I tweaked my knee or I really stepped on that wrong or anything like that. It just reemerged randomly and started bothering me a lot, and hasn't really quit since. The severity kind of ebbs and flows, but that is, I went through all that to say my knee is the major reason I'm not touring this year, because I don't know if I could complete a season. And with Steph and I being out there on the road together, with me unsure if I can even finish a competitive season, like that is not a position I wanted to to put us in. That would not have been a good time. Leading into that as well, kind of the secondary reason for not touring this year is our personal finances. We had a safety net set up for if something went wrong. I don't know that we were prepared for as much to go wrong as possible. So I've talked about my knee and all the things that happened last year. There was a financial impact to that, whether it was seeing doctors, missing tournaments where I'd normally be making money, all sorts of stuff like that had a major financial effect on us and our safety net that we had set up. But also, I mentioned the truck once, but some of you may have heard about our truck. It ended up breaking down right before Texas State's, had to have a complete engine replacement. Luckily, that was covered by warranty, so that saved us a lot of money. But it was gone for a month, so I had to have a ton of like alternate travel expenses and unexpected expenses that were way higher than what we had planned. Then after we got it back, it ended up having issues for the next 3.5 months. We had to take it into a mechanic like 12 more times to get it sorted out. So for the next 3 months of alternate travel expenses for not just myself, but for Steph as well, and just headache after headache, it pretty much ate through our safety net. So without having any more of a financial safety net, plus not knowing if I could complete the 2023 season, it became a no-brainer at some point when we actually sat down to think about it of, hey, maybe tour's not such a great idea this year. So got to catch up on my notes because I went through a lot of those without even looking at them. But yeah, so those are the main two reasons why we decided not to tour. Thirdly, if thirdly is a word, this one just being a little bit more personal to Steph and I. With everything that happened last year, that was also, didn't mention this, with all the truck issues, all the health issues, it was also Steph and I's first year of marriage. So that was a lot of stress to add into a first year of marriage. I think we did a great job, as good of a job as we possibly could have, and I think we are better for it. But there were definitely some trying times during that process, and I think not touring this year and possibly in some years in the future will be some great needed time to slow down, not stress as much, actually have time to spend with our friends and family. Because when you're touring full time, that's a sacrifice you make. You don't get to spend, unless all of your friends are on tour, you don't get to spend nearly as much time with your friends. And unless your family comes and visits you on tour, you don't get to spend as much time with them either. So that's going to be a really good thing for us, I think, this year, is getting to spend a lot more time with friends and family. So those are the three main reasons I am not touring this year. And that leads us into topic number 2. And that is, what the heck am I going to be doing this year since I'm not touring? Well, a lot of that was really up in the air. First thing was, well, I need to go get a job, because if I'm not touring, that means I don't have a job. And that decision was, well, am I going to try and stay in disc golf? And in that case, most jobs available would probably not be in DFW, where Steph and I were wanting to stay. Or am I going to leave disc golf and go figure something else out, which I thought was going to be the route for a period of time. It turns out that I am going to be staying in disc golf, and I'm happy to, at least publicly, some people know this already because I've already helped run a tournament or two, but I have accepted a job at Dynamic Disc Carrollton as their event coordinator. Some of you may be familiar with Steven Story and Bradley Crow down there in Carrollton. I should say down here in Carrollton. They have an awesome shop down here and an awesome tour that they run called the Dirty Dozen Tour. And so I will be running the rest of those events for the year, and I will be running all the Flex Start Fridays and Bring Your Own Partner doubles. So if you catch yourself in Texas in the DFW area, come play one of our events. It'll be an awesome event, and I guarantee you'll have a great time. So I'm really, really excited to start that position. I've already started it, but it's awesome. And I'm really excited to just be involved with the DFW community again. With being on tour full-time for the past 2 years, I felt like even in the off seasons, I'm trying to just kind of chill. So I haven't been involved with the community down here, and I'm excited to get back into that. So that'll be a lot of fun. Speaking of the DFW community, now that I'm back full-time, I have people reaching out for lessons all the time while I'm on tour, and I get on my keyboard and I'm always like, sorry, I'm out of town. I don't know exactly when I'll be offering lessons again. Well, I am back full-time, so if you are looking for lessons here in the Dallas DFW area, make sure to let me know and we can get something set up. Easiest way to contact me for that is just send me an email at John, Jon, by the way, john@dynamicdiscs.com. Send me an email there if you're interested in lessons, or send me an email if you just want to say hi, or have any questions about any of the Dynamic Disc Carrollton events. I can let you know all the info on that too. All right, on to topic number 3. What is the plan for the podcast this year? The plan is to keep the podcast going strong. I do, unfortunately, need to slow it down a little bit. I'm not going to have, not that I had free time in in the first place, but I had more time that I could allocate to podcasting. So now I'm going to have a little bit less time. So what that is going to mean is the podcast is going to start coming out twice a month. So every other week is what the podcast is going to come out going forward. And also, I'm going to start posting on Wednesdays. I've already started doing that, so you guys have probably caught on. But I should have announced that. Podcasts, instead of posting on Mondays, will now be posting on Wednesdays, and they will be happening every other week going forward. If I can find some time, I have a co-host lined up for this, actually. So I'm excited if I can pull the trigger and get it going. So I haven't announced it yet, but make sure to comment. Let me know if you're excited about this. I would love to start some sort of it may have to start with just a post show rather than a pre-show and a post show, since that's a double the time commitment. But I would love to start a pre-post show of every Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Plus, and Major, now that there's 3 distinct categories, just to kind of highlight some of the experience I've had at these courses with players who I think are going to do well, players who are hot currently, and all sorts of things like that. I feel like I could really offer some valuable insight on some of those things, and I would love to stay caught up, and that would force me to stay more caught up than I would otherwise. So I'm definitely bouncing around that idea of starting that show. So if you're interested, let me know. The more people who are interested, I'm probably going to pull the trigger on it anyway, but let me know. I would love to start that show. And last but not least, this actually does not have to deal with the disc golf prescription, but I believe that I will be co-hosting another podcast sometime soon that I think all of you would be very interested in. Unfortunately, about all I can do right now is that teaser, because it is not set in stone, but there will be more information coming soon. I can promise you that. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a show y'all want to tune in for. So stay tuned for that announcement. All right. Topic number 4, what disc golf looks like for me in the future. This is the most ambiguous topic of the day. Honestly, I really don't know. That completely depends on my knee to some extent, and whether I decide to continue with routes that could, well, let me say this first. When you have a meniscus tear, luckily mine is a fairly superficial tear in the sense that it's not a really deep tear in my meniscus. So it could potentially heal. Unlikely, as a lot of you probably know, the cartilage does not have much blood flow and probably will not heal itself. But with a meniscus tear, and I can't even talk. With a meniscus tear that you don't want to have surgery on, you aren't necessarily hoping that the tear itself heals. You're kind of hoping that the tear becomes asymptomatic. There's tons of people out there in the world who are very active, who have meniscus tears, who don't even know about them because they don't have any symptoms from it. So they never go get it checked out. So the goal with my tear is to have it become asymptomatic. So I think I will continue to explore some different routes to try and get that to happen. I'm in my early 30s. I would like to continue to postpone surgery on it if I can, but if I end up needing to have surgery, it's funny because it's on my knee. Sorry about that. Needing to have surgery, I will, but we'll see. I'm really, if you guys can't tell, I'm really procrastinating on the surgery part. So we'll see about that. But I definitely still have some drive to compete. I want to compete at the highest level when I can. Touring is not in the cards right now. I am signed up for Waco. I am signed up for Dynamic Disc Open. This year, I think that's all the Elite Series or above that I would be able to play. In the future, I might try to sneak 3 to 4 in if that is still a possibility without having a tour card. So that will just depend on how the sport continues to progress. But I will be playing some other local B tiers. I'll definitely play some A tiers. Like I said earlier, I am pumped about trying to get the three-peat at Oklahoma Open up in Tulsa. So I'm definitely playing that tournament this year. Like I said, I was playing Dynamic Disc Open. Also, shout out to Dynamic Disc. I told them that I was not looking to tour. They didn't really skip a beat. As you can see, I've been wearing all my Team DD stuff still. They were still down to support me. I still have a great relationship with them. And so I'm looking forward to having another great year with Team Dynamic Disc. So I'm pumped about that. And I'm pumped that I'm still able to play, even if it isn't on tour. Other than those plans I just laid out, I really don't have anything else. I don't know. So I'm planned through, when is Dynamic Disc Open? June? Planned through June right now, and I'm hoping I could finish the tournaments between now and then. Other than that, future plans will be coming out in the future. So I will keep you guys updated about that. Oh, I'm looking at my notes right now, and I completely forgot this was on here. In fact, I don't even remember the questions, but I was talking to Steph about the format of this episode, and she was like, "You want me to ask you Steph's curious questions?" And I said, "Absolutely." So, had to find the button there. This is Steph's curious questions to myself, which is a little strange, but, it's all right. Question number 1. What is one thing you are going to miss most about your life? I would assume that is supposed to say tour life because I still have a life, so I don't think I will miss it. I think the biggest thing I will miss about tour life are easily all the friends that I've made out on tour. I still text back and forth with them. I'm still going to be hosting some episodes on here with Aaron Gossage every now and then as well. So make sure you check out all those Getting Loose with the Goose episodes. But yeah, it'll be seeing all my tour friends week in and week out. I will get to see all my friends in DFW week in and week out, but it's not great when you go from seeing everybody all the time to not seeing them at all, especially since they won't be in Texas very often. So that'll probably be the part I miss the most. Easily the part I miss the most. If I were to give a close second, that's not even a close second place. Sorry, that was offensive to all my friends out there. Not a close second place, a distant second place. It would be the food. Getting to travel everywhere and try new food was pretty cool too. So I like that. But no, friends are way more important than food. But those are two very important Fs. Question number 2, sorry. What are you most excited about being back in one place? Several things. A comfy bed. All my friends that I'll get to see on a consistent basis. Being able to actually have like a schedule that makes sense and isn't chaos and traveling. I'll roll all of those into one. But I will definitely miss the tour life as well. It's hard to have the best of both worlds there. Feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit right now, which is not good for podcasting. I don't know if you guys know that at home. In number 3, does Steph think I'm dying? What would be your last meal? So question number 1 was, what is one thing you are going to miss the most about your life? Assuming I'm dying. Number 3, what would be your last meal? Also like a death question. Steph, I am not dying. I am okay, I swear. What would be your last meal? That's easy. Steak. I don't know what sides I would have with it. Probably some like fantastic macaroni and cheese or something like that. And some potatoes, some sort of garlic potatoes. That'd be good too. But definitely a like nice ribeye. Yeah, that's what I would do. Last meal for sure. And with that being said, that is the end of the solo version of Steph's Curious Questions. Oh, I don't have this on my notes, but this is something fun. So I've shot quite a few episodes in this home studio garage area here that my buddy Alex was kind enough to let me shoot in while Steph and I have been looking for a new place since we've moved back to DFW. We will be getting a new place fairly soon, I hope. So I'm hoping to have more of a not permanent setup, but more of a consistent setup where I can just kind of leave it up all the time. So that'll make things a lot easier. But you guys will also be seeing kind of a new studio look coming soon as well. So that will also be fun. I like changing things up, so that'll be a really good time. With that being said, that is all for this episode. If any of you have any ideas for what you want to see more of in the future, besides kind of that pre-post show type concept I talked about earlier, please comment, let me know. I always love to hear what you guys are interested in. I want to bring you guys content that you're interested in. So if you have any ideas you want to see me do, let me know. Other than that, thank you all for tuning in. Remember, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, review, do all the things. Really helps us out, and I really appreciate it. Other than that, see all you guys next week. Oh, that's a lie. I will not see you next week. See all you guys in 2 weeks. Got to change that in my notes.